are you doing?
I'm good. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. Let's see. Let's see. Could you speak a little bit again?
Yeah, yeah. Is that better?
Yeah, that's better. That's better.
Okay.
I just wanted to make sure. I think you moved back a little bit, and then the volume went down. I'm like, uh-oh.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I
yeah.
am
No,
sharing the show. Um, so that should be good.
I'm sorry.
I am sharing the show on Facebook, so I think we're all set there.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, they're in the midst of doing the whole live stream thing right now.
Okay,
Um,
good.
so let's see. When I go on to your website.
Mhm.
Um, let's scroll through. We've got, and we haven't started yet, so don't worry. But people get to see this and they get a kick out of it just to make sure everything's good. Um, where is it? Where did it go? Um, okay, happy to be kids. It says starting from scratch.
Mhm.
Is there a book or
Yeah.
a book? How does that work?
I have the book here. It's called Starting from Scratch. And I think it has the contents of the book on the website as well. Each of the chapters are listed about, boundaries and
Hmm.
communication and going through your feelings because feelings are super important, and then changing your thoughts
Okay,
too.
so I just want to make sure at the end, um, um, would you like to promote the book, the service? What would you like to promote?
Probably the service because I think the kids need help in identifying where they're getting stuck. Um, so that I think it's the self-esteem classes for teens that will make the biggest impact because they can read the book, but like I'm finding, the kids I'm working with, like they won't understand. I'll say you just did a distortion and they won't get it. And then we'll go through and they'll go, oh my gosh, I get it. So we need help identifying where we get stuck in our own mind.
Okay, no, that's fine. At the end, like I'll tell you what, my listeners are basically 45 to 65 and
Okay.
86% female. So your topic is a big one. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So, and the things that I saw, things that are your passion, the way you help people is something that a lot of people really need. And
Mhm.
this is one of the reasons why we've had a bit of a, when I said, hey, what do you guys think about this? I got a lot of positive feedback because they know, people going through that. Because you know what, I'm a 6'4" person now, but I was a little 5'2" freshman in high school and
Yeah.
getting bullied and all that kind of stuff just
Yeah.
because of size. And that's probably a little weird like most people. But you know what, it's one of those things that
Yeah.
you learn how to
Yeah.
deal with that. And sometimes
Okay,
you don't have the
gross for whatever
resources to
reason.
deal with that. And that's probably what
That's
you've dealt
exactly
with as
it.
an educator. So you know what, I'm excited about this, but it's kind of new territory. So I'm just going to ask you a lot of questions. Okay.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing, we can even relate it back to money because self-esteem is really how much money we have is a reflection of our self-esteem. So it can even go there, you know?
Yeah, it
Um,
can also go the other way because see a lot of people have a lot of money that has a low self-esteem because they don't think they got enough.
that's true. That's true.
Yeah, and I know a lot of very wealthy, miserable people.
Yeah, that is true. That is
So
very true.
we want to focus on kids.
Mhm.
That's what this is all about. So let's focus on you, what you do with your kids. So I'm going to go ahead and kick it off. I'm just going to click the record and I'll do an intro. There is no advertisements other than a couple prompts that I have to say during our recording. After recording, Cameron will come in and he will edit. So something sounds funny or whatever, he'll edit something, and he will add in commercials and things like that. So we're gonna go for like 10 minutes. I'm gonna say, hey, we need to take a break. Don't be offended if I kind of cut you off mid-sentence. I just have to hit a certain time period. And then what is it? Will take us about 20 seconds for me to tell Cameron we're moving in the second segment, and then we'll get going with the second segment, and then we'll be all done. Okay.
Yeah,
But
perfect.
at the end, be prepared to provide the information so people can get a hold of you, go to your website, all that kind of stuff. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, perfect. So here we go. Cameron, this is Steve Sexton. We're beginning the episode with Kristin Bruce. So here we go. We're going to get started in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello, welcome to the Saving with Steve show, where we talk about the ins and outs of money, pretty much everything under the sun to make sure you're a happy, healthy relationship with money. My name is Steve Sexton. I want to thank you for joining us. You know what? I want to thank you for sharing with your friends and family. We just really, really appreciate it. We've just hit the almost 700,000 listener mark, so we appreciate you sharing us with your friends and family. Today, we have a wonderful guest. Many people are, looking forward to her. We have Kristin Bruce. Kristin taught in the public education system for over 20 years. She saw students could not concentrate on academics because of emotional issues, low self-esteem, and they just got in the way. And you know what? If you had issues when you were little, you know what she's talking about, and you probably see kids have these issues. And you know what? She decided to write a curriculum to help students get out of the struggles. Kristin currently works as a school counselor, and her curriculum is being used in the school system today. You know what? I love this, her unwavering goal, and it's to guide teens and preteens away from the shadows of anxiety and depression, steering them back on the path where they rediscover their happiness and embrace a serene, fulfilling future with vast experience, practical strategies, and deeply rooted passion for youth's mental health. Kristin Bruce remains a stalwart ally in championing the well-being of a younger generation. And I think that's just wonderful. So let's get started. So tell me about, you know what, you started seeing this a long time ago. So what did you see at the beginning that said, you know what, I've got to do something?
Yeah, first of all, I'm so happy to be here today. So thank you for sharing this message that's so important because it's impacting the youth, not just in our community or our state, but all across the US and the world, really. So I noticed when I was teaching that kids would come in from having a fight with their parents or a fight on the bus or, just feeling bad about something and they couldn't concentrate. And I remember thinking back to when I was a school child and if something was going on at home or I was having an issue with my best friend, that's where my mind went. It didn't go on the academics. It went on what my social emotional issues were struggling with at that moment. So what I started doing is I started taking some time in the morning with the kiddos. We would kind of talk through their issues they were going through. That led to a much more productive day. Um, and schools don't always have the time to do that in the classroom. So that's where the school counselors come in. They're very, very much needed and test scores go up when students are feeling happy and healthy and have those emotional needs taken care of. So
Okay.
that's why I wrote the curriculum because I figured out how to get out of my own struggles, but most of us don't know how to do that, right? We need other people to help. Um, and going through feelings, we're so used to pushing our feelings down,
Mm-hmm.
but feelings are really the key. When we feel our feelings, that anger or that sadness or frustration, it can be released and then we get back to our happy again, which is what we all want to feel. But we need to talk those feelings out with our friends, with our family, with our if we're adults, with our coworkers. That helps us get back into that state of feeling grounded and peaceful again.
So let's start by asking the question, how do we start getting somebody or encouraging them to start talking about their feelings so they can get it out and kind of, so to speak, move on and go do the things they need to do?
Yeah. It's such a stigma because uh, females are encouraged to share their feelings. And so, the girls will come in and I'm having issues with this person. They'll come in and talk it out. But with the boys. The boys are, um, I think ingrained from an early age. Don't share your feelings. Don't cry. Don't get emotional. Keep it all inside. And so sometimes the boys will come in and have a problem, and I'll know what the problem is, and I'll ask them, "Do you want to say it or do you want me to say it?" And so they'll say, "You talk." So I'll share with the other person, and then the other person will respond, and then the one with the issue will see it's safe, and he'll start talking as well, and then they'll work it out. But I think we need to create an environment where it's safe for not just males, but all kiddos to express themselves and to share their feelings, because sometimes they don't feel safe in doing that.
Okay, I see that. Now, now one of the things that you talk about is um, deriving, good communication strategies for kids when they're younger.
Mhm.
Because a lot of times they just say forget it because they don't know how to communicate it or they don't feel comfortable communicating it. So, what strategies that parents or even teachers could utilize to help their kids with communication?
Yeah. So I think listening to them, they don't have to, a kiddo can, you know, not be correct in their thinking, but we still need to listen to them. So, maybe they want a toy at Target, and they're not getting the toy at Target, and that's fine. But we still need to listen to their needs. And when they can feel safe in expressing what they want, then that helps them learn that it's safe to share my feelings. Now, they might not always get what they're wanting, but if they just can feel heard and listened to, that's the very first step. Or, say they get grounded because they broke a curfew. Well, they can feel free to say, "You know what? I don't think it's fair. This is why the curfew was broken." As long as they're listened to, you don't have to say, "Okay, no more curfew." That's not what I'm saying. But just give them the opportunity to be heard. Everyone wants to be heard, no matter if we're right, wrong, we want to be heard. So just giving kiddos that opportunity to feel heard goes a long way in creating that bond,
Mhm.
that relationship. When you feel safe enough to express what you're feeling, the relationship grows. And so I encourage parents to just listen to what their kids are saying. They don't have to agree, because we're not always going to agree with everybody, but just listen and be open to hearing what your kiddo has to say. That's going to create a safe place in their minds to share with them when the really big stuff does come up.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Hey, folks, you know what? We're going to be stick with us. We'll be right back with more Bruce, and I'm going to ask her how kids create boundaries when we come back. So again, stick with us. We'll be right back with more on Saving with Steve. Perfect. Okay, that's perfect. That's perfect. Um, I'm going to just tell Cameron here. Hey, Cameron, we're going to be moving into segment 2 right now with Kristin Bruce, and I want to talk about um, creating boundaries. And I'd like to kind of pose this question because a lot of times kids, you know what, um, well, you've probably seen it as a teacher where they push, they shove, they do all that kind of stuff, whether girls or boys, and sometimes they're mean. And how do people how do kids create boundaries? How do they learn how to communicate and create boundaries? That's my big question, and that's one of the questions that we got a lot of.
Okay. Okay.
So
Yeah,
so
yeah.
here we go. Hey, Cameron, we're going to move into segment 2 with Kristin Bruce. And here we go. Hey, folks, I want to thank you for listening to Saving with Steve. And again, I want to welcome you back and truly sharing it with your friends and families. By the way, all the replays are available at savingwithsteve.us. And if you're enjoying the stories of helpful information and insight on Saving with Steve, I encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Never miss a show. Check out a few of our affiliates at UK Health Radio, BBS Radio, Talk Radio in New York City. E360 TV, all these networks are dedicated to empowering you to solve problems, uplift your spirit, and live a life of personal financial freedom. Again, also you can follow us on Facebook at Saving with Steve Sexton, get all the insider stuff, guest gifts, and the whole shot. With that, I want to bring back Kristin Bruce. We've got a real big question here. So Kristin, welcome back to the show. Thanks for being here.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
I appreciate it. I really do. And I know our guests do too. So the next big thing is this: boundaries. How do kids learn how to set boundaries? How do kids learn how to say no? And then in high school with the peer pressure, how do they learn how to set, there's like three different things there. And those are the big questions that our listeners have for you.
So kids really learn to set boundaries by seeing them modeled from their adult peers, from their teachers, from their parents. When they learn that, okay, mom just set a boundary there with somebody else, that means it's mom does it, it's healthy for me to do it too, right? So first and foremost, it's seeing those boundaries set by their parents. Now, that may not always happen, and that's okay. They can still learn that, you know what, boundaries are good. They protect me. They protect my core self, my true self of who I really am. They really help keep me safe, right? Kids need to know boundaries are there to help keep them safe and happy. When they haven't seen them modeled, what you can do is teach them that when you set a boundary, more than likely, other peers of yours, want those same boundaries as well, right? Like let's say teens who are smoking. Well, when you're first offered that vaping is the thing now, and when you're first offered the vape or the cigarette or whatever it is, you really don't want to accept it. You really know in your heart, this is not what I'm supposed to be doing. And other kids are looking at you to see, are you going to do it? Or will you please be the one to say no so that I can follow you and say no too? So it's helpful for kiddos to know that if you're thinking, I don't want to do this, I want to set a boundary, you're not the only one, you're not alone. Other kids are wanting to set that same boundary. So don't be afraid, because you're probably going to get more followers, more likes in your friend group for setting that boundary, more respect than you will by going ahead and, doing the vaping or taking the cigarette or whatever it is. You're not the only one that is wanting to set a boundary. And that's really important, because that peer thing, thinking I'm going to be the only one that doesn't do this, not true. Not true.
Yeah, you're never the only one. And the best way I can express that is in speaking. I have a friend who has a new child, and not a really a new child, but the child's like 5 or 6, and she was at the park with her mom's group, and somebody asked, "Hey, does your kid eat crayons?" And she thought her kid was there, like, "Oh yeah," and then everyone, "Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah." So you know what? It's really interesting how everybody's in the same boat, and the way you said that, whether you're 10 years old, 15 years or whatever, everybody's kind of feeling the same thing, and they're trying to follow somebody's lead. And you know what? You want to follow your own path and your own lead, so to speak. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, we all want to fit in, right? So sometimes we do things that are not helpful for us in order to fit in. But really, if we know that everyone else is feeling like we're feeling, there's more unity in that, and more peace in that. So
Mhm.
yeah, that makes
So
total sense.
I'd like to spend the next few minutes talking about your program, how people can work through that, your website, how people can, connect with that if they are looking for that type of help. Could you go ahead and share us? I know you have your book up there. Could you just put it up on the screen so everybody can see it?
Yeah, so I use my book. It's called Starting from Scratch. It's a guide to feeling good. Um, and in my program, we do a lot with thoughts, because of what we just talked about, the thought of, well, if I say no, nobody's going to like me. That might not be so true. So we really do a lot of thought reframing in the program. We go through the feelings. We learn about setting boundaries, how to communicate with others, because a lot of times kids get in fights, and what it really is just a miscommunication, but they don't check it out. Hey, this is what I'm hearing. Is that true? No, this is what I'm meaning. And that causes so many more disruptions and negative feelings than we even know. If we just check it out sometimes, that solves the problem right there. So, and the program's really helping kiddos get out of anxiety, get out of depression, and finding, because it's helping them find who they are, and their source of their happiness is really inside of themselves and who they are. So,
That's so true. A lot of people think, especially, or a lot of young people feel that if they're involved with everybody else or doing this or doing that, they are happy, but they're actually trying to make somebody else happy at the same time.
yeah, that's exactly it. That's exactly it.
And that's tough because because I remember my son played basketball because I played basketball, but he really loves soccer. So
Yeah.
he played basketball for 1 year and actually did well, but you know what? And finally just said, I'm playing soccer, and that was it. So I'm like, yeah, good, go for it. But he thought it was important to me without even asking uh, that first year. So yeah,
And
I get
there's
that.
those, assumptions. Well, maybe dad's going to be mad at me if I say no to basketball but yes to soccer. But he didn't even check it out with you,
Yeah,
and you would have been fine with it. So,
yeah.
so there you go. There's those communication errors.
Well, what's also really interesting is we were like spending Saturdays practicing and stuff like that. And when he didn't tell me, but then signed up for soccer, I was like, you should have just said something. I would have been good with it.
Yeah.
And you could see him go, "Oh crap! I wish I should have said
Yeah,
something."
and there's that, you're safe to talk to, but in our own heads, we're like, is he gonna get mad? I don't know. And we go through that all the time in our heads. And we could be, like you said, doing something that brings us more joy instead of doing something for somebody else. And we all do it, no matter what age, we all do that.
So we're coming close to the end of our time. I would just like to know what would be the message that you would want to communicate to parents to help their kids if they're going through the poor school performance due to emotional issues or distractions at school, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. First of all, talk to them, right? Sometimes kids don't open up to parents all the time. So if your kiddo is shutting down and they won't talk to you, find somebody else for them to talk to, or make it a safe place. Let them know you love them no matter what they're going through. Kids really need to hear, I love you. That's really important. We think, oh, but I just bought you the video game, or I just, bought you a drink at Starbucks, or just bought you McDonald's.
Uh-oh, we got a froze.
That proves I love you. Kids need to hear it. They need to hear it. Tell your
Hmm,
kiddo you love them. Yeah.
that's wonderful. Now, how can people connect with you?
You can go to my website. It's www.howtobehappy.kids, or you can just send me a text. It's 714-330-4468.
714-330.
4468.
Perfect.
Yeah.
You know what? I want to thank you so much for being with us today, Kristen. This has been wonderful, and I hope we've been able to reach a lot of parents who can help their kids.
I hope so too. Thank you for sharing this message.
Yes, folks, stick with this. I'll be right back talking to you about the difference between the 1990 tech bubble and the 2024 tech bubble. Stick with us. We'll be right back. See you then. Okay. Kristen, thank you so much. That was wonderful.
Yeah. Bye, Steve. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You got it. All you got to do is sign off. You have a wonderful day, okay?
Okay, you too. Bye.
Bye. Let's see. Alrighty. Okay. Um, Hey, Cameron, I'm just going to do a separate segment and send it to you and have you edit it in on a like a bomb type thing. So you can just edit into this Saving with Steve. And with that, I'm just going to go through my close and be done right now. If you can edit that in, that'd be great. So here we go. Hey, again, I want to thank you for joining us today. You can go and get a hold of Kristin Bruce for Happy Children. I think it's wonderful what she's doing. And if you need some help with that, by all means, you want to look her up. Now, with that, I want to thank you. I hope you have a wonderful day. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time on Saving with Steve. Bye-bye.